All right. So, yeah. Thank you. Welcome. Welcome to the micro course on getting off of sugar, getting off of white processed sugar. This could be a 4 week micro course. It doesn't sound micro because it's 4 weeks. However, that's about how long it takes someone to get off of the stuff because it is addicting. So, the first thing is going to be your attitude and attitude of gratitude and really feeling that that your body, that you are wanting this for one, because otherwise this isn't for you. If you want to continue with processed sugar, it's an addiction and there is, it does do things to your body that are not really healthy. And I know people always say, oh, just a little bit of sugar is okay. I suppose it is. If you haven't been eating processed sugar for years and years, just a little bit could be okay, but it is definitely an addiction. There is addictive, um, I guess, chemicals, something in there that makes you crave it, want it, and it's very difficult to give up um, if you don't do it by adding things. Like I like to add food to my diet. That's how I got off of it. Actually, I think I originally was so wanting it not to be like craving and searching all the time for food and feeling uncomfortable and feeling like eat a whole box of cookies just because they're there, and that does happen when you're on the stuff, And I do that with, fresh fruits, like dates, which is, I do eat those. And, sometimes I can tell I gotta like relax and slow down because that also could be a pattern of eating. So I do have a pattern to eat, so I think, many of us do. And so I chose a while back, in my 20s not to eat processed sugar. And the reason is because I was just over, overweight and just uncomfortable and really tired of being that because that's not what I was when I was younger. I wasn't thin, but I wasn't so thick. When I went away to college, I got thick really quick. And I know that's from drinking, and I know that's from, because that's alcohol. I mean, that's sugar added. And then also just having that cafeteria. This was like you just sit in there, and I would stay for like 3 meals just to meet up with friends and stuff. And you just get up and eat something, get up and eat something else. And it was definitely a process of growth. And it was uncomfortable. I remember shoving a cheesecake in my mouth because on Saturdays you only got one piece, and I was working the line in the cafeteria. That was my little job, and I would run between the line carrying it from this point to that point to serve, and I was shoving it in there like, oh, I get another piece just because I'm working here. And I was so bloated and so large, my clothes wouldn't fit, and one of my friends was like, what are you doing? Like, what's wrong with you? And it was true. I gained so much weight and I was uncomfortable and I just wasn't myself. And my chest grew like a Dolly Parton look. I mean, it wasn't a sexy look by no means. It was actually the double take look. Like you're walking down the street and all of a sudden like, doo, 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 what? And so that was uncomfortable and didn't feel good that, people were guys were like checking me out, but then also like making comments like, did you see that? Like it was some kind of a freak show. So it was not what I wanted. And so I remember, not then and there, but I did become aware that something wasn't right. And so I did start running and I started, eating less, but there was still something there. And later on, I think probably like once I got out of college, maybe 3 years after that, I think it was, I read a book called Sugar Blues, and it just kind of clicked with me, and it really made me aware of like what was happening with my body. And so I decided to read labels and just eliminate. And they said if you just eliminate all sugars for 30 days, your body gets off of it. And I believe it was 30 days. It could have been maybe 40, but whatever it was, I stuck to it. I read labels, and I'll teach you how to read labels. So that's one thing, is reading labels. And the other thing, so that's one. Two, we're going to, add foods so that your taste buds change. So you're not eating the sugar, but you got to, add things that you're going to enjoy and have options on. There's so many options now, because before there were no options, not as many. So now there's lots of, things sweetened with honey, sweetened with stevia, which are okay to do. And then you could also use dates. A lot of times I use dates. That does give me a buzz, but I feel like I'm not addicted to it. But there is some, there's other choices you can use. Well, that'll be a list. We'll make a list, because off the top of my head, I can't think. So list of, what you could use. List of natural sugar. And what happens when you add things, add foods, like you add greens, and that's probably the biggest one, because you start to crave greens, and you start to crave vegetables, and you start to crave certain things because you're getting off the stuff. So there's also a variety of desserts that we could create. I would say we should add greens and a list of other things, and I will give you a list of things to add. And then also a shopping list. And before we go shopping, we have to empty out, look for things and throw it out or give it away. So go through, because if it's there, you're going to eat it. I will. I do. So it can't be here. So go through and throw out. You have to read labels, throw out things that are not good for us, and be truthful, and just be aware of what it is. And if you share a house, then maybe what you're going to do is put it in a different area, or you're going to ask them to cooperate. They may not, though. They might not be ready for it. But if you're ready for it, it's up to you to do, and get your little section, and get your little cupboard, and get your little refrigerator shelf, and that's what you're. So those are the things. And so we will go through this. We will go through this together, and or I will just record video, so you could download it. But I feel like sometimes with this, I did it by myself and it worked. However, I was younger and I was by myself. I didn't have a partner, so I lived alone. So it worked for me because I had control over what I was buying, what I was eating. And I think that's a key factor. So if you have a family, it is going to be up to you to have like your little separate section if they don't want to join you, because they probably won't. But if they are, that's even better. If you have a partner that's like, yeah, let's do this. Because we're going to do juicing. We're going to do juicing is a good one. Juicing and creating recipes, creating foods that do not have sugar, and they're raw, so they don't have. In other words, they're real foods, whole foods. They're not coming from a box. I mean, they might put them in a box, but it's really fresh, coming from the dirt, the ground, nothing added. So that's considered raw food. You're not cooking it either, but you can cook. You can cook it. I could show you both ways, but I like to do raw food. But I think when I did give it up at first, I didn't do raw food. That came later. So. So those are the things we're going to be doing, creating recipes. So it's a process, and you're going to go through a little bit of withdrawal. But again, we're going to add these like superfoods, I call them, because that's what they're called, superfoods, which really is like whole foods again. And they consider them super because they have all the nutrients and nutrition that your body needs in just one bite. It's there. So you get everything you need mostly in those. So we're going to look at all of them and have choices, and you have choices. So shopping lists, get rid of things that are really addicting and just not good for the body, or soul, because really this is soulful food. In reality, you are getting deeper to connect your body with your mind, soul, your feet to the earth, you might say, is another practice where you really are connected to the dirt, you're connected to the sun, you're connected to the sky, you're connected to the air, you're connected to everything, just like plants and animals, and we're all connected. And so that's what you are going to feel more of. So once when I was in Croatia, this was before, no, I had given up sugar, but it was just like somebody had given me a piece of fruit that had no additives, no, it was fresh off a tree, no pesticides. So I took a bite, and it was just like I could feel it inside my body, things like a, and that's what you want to feel. You want to feel your food. I'm not kidding. And then you know that it's good for you. You feel it. And it was really energetic. And this is energetic foods. You will have more energy. I feel like I have a lot of energy. I have a great attitude. Just my life. And even when things aren't perfect, I feel good. I feel great. So that is what's happening here. So if you want to join me, I know this was a lot to say, but if you want to join me, please join me, and I will put the program up. And it might not be a micro course because I think it is kind of involved, and maybe you'll have some questions, but I feel like we could meet up at least once, on Zoom, and we could hang out and on Zoom, and maybe it is on the private Facebook page if those people are wanting to join as well. And I'll give you a price on it as soon as I tap into what that would be, and then see if it's something you are interested in. Can you text me or give me a private message me if this is something that would interest you. All right, I've spoken too much about it, but I think once you're off the stuff, then you have more energy, more life, and you are really not as hungry, and you search for, like I said, the foods that you crave are going to be different. Your taste buds are going to change. All right, this is exciting. I'm excited. I hope you're excited. And again, this is for people who really want to make a difference in their life, who really want to change, who really want to feel slim and trim. And it does. That's what happens too. That is what happens naturally. So, and I feel like health-wise, you are ahead of the game. You're going to be ahead. Your immune system, So all of this is good for you. So let me know. All right.